Alright, today I'm going to show you how to put fishing line on a Catfish baitcaster. I'm going to show you how to both do braid and monofilament. Now for those of you who are subscribed to my channel or follow me, I've got a surprise. And it has to do with the braid. So let me grab that surprise and put braid on it. I went to my local bait shop, Big Fish Outfitters, and bought a pink Akuma cold water reel. I want to use this rod and reel combo as my dragging combo. When I drag big baits on the bottom from my boat for big fish or little fish, they will eat it too. And because this is a dragging combo, I want to try some braid on it. I got this from Amazon, Reaction Tackle Braid. This is 1,000 yards of 50-pound braid. Now this is going to be a little bit of do as I say and not as I do. With braid, you really want to get it on your spool as tight as possible. That prevents the braid from digging into the braid that's underneath it, which will create a bad day if that happens. And I really have no way to do that, to get it tight on the spool without having somebody else help me, which I don't have anybody at the moment. Although I did buy this line spooler to see if it will work with this spool. I don't know if it will. I've used these before in the past successfully, but this is a bigger spool, so who knows what's going to happen. Now, one of the things you need to do when you spool braid on your spool, you need to put a backing of monofilament. And I mean a lot of it, because braid is expensive, so the monofilament backing can fill up extra space so you don't have to use as much braid. It also prevents the braid from spinning on the spool. If you take braid and put it directly to the spool, there is a possibility that it will just come out of the spool. I've actually had that happen before, and it's not fun to deal with. You can put the braid directly to the spool if you use some electrical tape on top of it after you tie it on the spool. That will hold it in place most of the time. I'm going to use monofilament because I want to try to spool 4 reels with this one spool. And right now, I've only got 2 pink reels to do this with. I will show you one, and then the other I'll do off camera. And at some point in the future, I'm going to buy 2 more reels for my 2 other poles to make 4 total dragging rigs. Now I'm going to use this 30-pound line to show you how to put it on the spool properly. You take the line, you put it through the eye and underneath the spool, and then you pull it up. And you got to reach in there or push it through to get a loop on the top. Loop on top of the spool, line on the bottom. This is not as complicated as I'm making it to be right now. On the end of the line, you want to put a knot. You want to cut off the tag end. Just a little overhand knot. And then you got to find your main line. I know you got a loop, that's just to hold it. But when you find the main line, you take this line right here, you wrap around it with an overhand knot. And then you can pull it all through and it becomes a loop. And when you pull on it, it will pull that knot all the way to the spool. And now it's on the spool really tight. Now I was going to use my 12-pound monofilament to do this, or do that on the other reels. And that's because I wanted to put this Andy Monster on a different reel to show you how to put monofilament on a reel. Now this definitely doesn't need to be tight, but I will put my finger on it. And I probably should have put it through the eyes, but oops. As you can see here, I really don't have that much on here. Okay, this tool, you screw out the spool holder. You gotta open it up, and then you clamp it on your rod. this hole. And when you have it on here, you can tighten it and loosen it right here to make it more pressure or less pressure. Okay, this knot's going to be hard to show you guys, but I use what's called a double uni to put the two lines together. Put the lines on top of each other, pointing in the different directions. You make a loop on one side and take the line and just go through the loop a few times. And then I'll wet it a little bit. Tighten, but not all the way. And then you do the same thing with the other line. Make a loop. Put the line through the loop a few times. Wet it. And pull on it, tighten on it. Wet the whole thing, pull it all together. Cut off the tag ends. Man, that braid was hard to cut. And this is brand new. That's kind of a good sign. I would not recommend using braid from the bank. A lot of you probably saw my previous video where I had my braid break from the bank. There's a lot of zebra mussels in a lot of waterways around here, and a zebra mussel will cut through braid instantly. And so will a sharp rock. I'm using braid on this combo because it's for the boat only. And I'm hoping it will help me get more hookups while dragging. At least that's the idea. I've actually missed a few fish while dragging when using monofilament. And the braid I'm using here is a 4-strand braid instead of 6 or 8. And from what I've read, the 4-strand is a little bit more abrasion resistant. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. This is also 50-pound line, so it's pretty strong. Trying to get it as centered as possible. And this is pretty tight, so that's good. I'm just tightening it a little bit more because I want it on here tight. And there we go. Seems to be working. That's good. And I just fill up the spool. All right. I filled it up. I think a good amount. The next thing I will be doing with this is rigging it up. And I'm not going to do that on this video because I'm going to move to the reel that needs monofilament on it. And it's the Whisker Seeker with the Akuma Cortez that had the line broke by a zebra mussel. So I'm going to switch this over from braid to monofilament. And you can see I got this thing absolutely loaded up with braid. It is completely full. So I am going to try to save this braid. And I'm going to show you how. Basically, you want to get a bottle stuck to a drill somehow and then tie the line on the bottle and then pull it off the reel. And it's a good idea, just like on the spool, to use some electrical tape to hold the end of the braid on the bottle. Alright, I had orange monofilament as the backing on this one. But I could reuse this another time if I wanted to. Although I did get some of the line on the actual bit. Should be fine. Alright, I'm putting 30-pound Andy Monster back on here. Now I will say this, Catfish Dave was going up to 60-pound monofilament on his bank fishing rigs because of zebra mussels back in the day before he had a boat. However, I figured I'd give Andy Monster a try because this stuff is solid line. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but it is my favorite line. This line is what's on all of my boat fishing rigs. So I figured I'd give it a try on my bank fishing rig. Now putting this line on this spool is going to be the same way as the backing on the braid spool. However, there's one difference. You don't have to have this super tight like when you're dealing with braid. Although tightening it down will allow you to put more monofilament on your reel, you really don't need to do it. Now, out of curiosity, I'm going to see if this little rig will work on this giant spool. I highly doubt it, but who knows, it might. It's tightening up. Will it tighten down? Whoa! Now this is a conventional reel with no level wind, so it should be easier to work with. Put the line under the spool and pull it back up. I don't even have to make a loop or anything. Here's the main line. Here's the tag end, which I have not put a knot in yet. There we go, overhand knot. And then on the main line, I take and make another overhand knot. Like that. And then pull it all together. Nice solid knot. Maybe I can do this, I don't know. Alright, if I put it on the 9-foot pole, I can get it to stay in place. I have to use my thumb and finger to put it on the line or on the spool properly. It is working, kind of. Alright, I clamped this off to something off screen because I was having trouble getting it to work with it on the rod. Alright, I used the last of my Andy Monster spool. Didn't get it completely full, but that should be good enough. Now it's time for me to rig these up and take them fishing. At least my bank fishing rig. My boat currently is out of commission. I'm hoping I get parts soon to fix my trailer so I can take my boat fishing again and break in all of my new rods. And if you're wondering what my new rods are, they are Silvercat Elites. B&M Silvercat Elites. Now, you can buy these Silvercat Elites on Amazon, and if you're interested in buying them, they're really cheap. Let me know. I can give you an Amazon associate link to these rods, and if you buy them, I might actually get a... These Akuma Cold Waters are also on Amazon. The Akuma Cortez, I don't know if it's on Amazon or not. And this Reaction Tackle Braid is on Amazon as well. So I can give you links to any of these. And I got blue all over my finger from putting line on this whisker seeker. This is a 9.5-foot whisker seeker, which is a really stiff rod, and I think it casts really well from the bank. Now I know some of you want to see the actual rigging. I will show you a rig real quick. This is for dragging from the boat. You basically have a hook. I have 80-pound leader line. I add a rattle. I don't know if it does anything, but I add it anyway. I've got a peg float, which helps keep the bait and hook off the bottom when you're dragging, when you're pulling. We've got a swivel, and then there'll be a sinker slide, and you attach the dragging weight to the sinker slide. Or you can use a 3-way instead of a barrel swivel. And basically this dragging weight drags on the bottom while the bait stays up while you're moving the boat. and I move the boat 0.5 miles per hour to 0.7 miles per hour. Now I don't have any pre-made bank fishing rigs. All it is a really short leader, about, I don't know, 5 inches, with a 10-aught Team Catfish double action circle hook, a swivel, and a sinker slide with a 4-ounce weight. Keeping your leader line as short as possible on a bank fishing rig allows you to get more distance when you're casting. Braid will also help you get more distance, but apparently even if you have a 20-foot shock leader of monofilament with the rest braid is not enough to keep the line from breaking on zebra mussels and rocks. Lesson learned again, so I've switched back to monofilament from the bank. Let's hope this line lasts. Now, if you enjoy videos like this where I just go over the gear, please hit that thumbs up to tell YouTube that this video is worth sharing. I do have a small issue where YouTube isn't promoting my channel, and the only way to fix that is to get a whole bunch of you to hit that thumbs up. So I might have to start doing that at the beginning of the video instead of the end. This is what all other YouTubers do, and to me is annoying. And I'm sure you guys think it's annoying as well when they're begging you to hit that thumbs up. I think I know the reason for that now. Anyway, I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch this video. I really appreciate it. And I really hope to see you next time whenever I'm fishing. Now to grab some skipjacks and go catch some fish.